Hi, one of the benefits of the ArtiSential instruments, it's what I call the articulating advantage. And as an articulating instrument, you can well imagine that does just that, it articulates. And in certain parts of the surgery that we do, in both the total laparoscopic hysterectomy, sacrocolpopexy, for example, there are parts of the surgery where really articulation comes into play, both from an ipsilateral approach when you have very large fibroids that you have to get around corners, to being contralateral, so that you're able to sequentially seal the uterine artery and vein, to parts of the closure of the vaginal cuff or suturing of the mesh in the case of the sacrocolpopexy, where you're having to come in at different angles. That articulating advantage of the instruments is really, really beneficial. One of the techniques that I utilize in a laparoscopic hysterectomy is what I call the sequential compression seal. And what happens is the larger the uterus, because of secondary to fibroids, the more venous plexus you're going to have, the larger the uterine artery, because obviously that needs to supply more blood to the uterus and the fibroids. And the larger the fibroids, the larger the vessels. And so once in a while, or actually many times, it's quite difficult to get a purchase from the existing instruments to be able to essentially completely cover and seal the uterine artery and the venous plexus. And so by sequentially compressing and sealing the vessels, and what I mean by that is essentially taking a big purchase and completely surrounding the artery and vein and essentially compressing them and sealing them with energy, so that then you can come in with your vessel sealer, advanced bipolar vessel sealer, be able to get that purchase and be able to seal in a way that you actually reduce the amount of blood loss, because now you have gotten the artery and vein. One of the ArtiSential instruments that I'm very excited about is the Maryland dissector, which also comes as a bipolar instrument, and the precise dissector. Now the difference between the two is essentially the length of the blade here, of the forceps, but they both have a very nice dissecting point. And when we open up the broad ligament into the anterior and posterior leaves, for example, this is a great instrument to be able to skeletonize the uterine vessels in a way that you can then go in and seal them separately if you desire. So this instrument and its sister instrument work very, very effectively in doing so. So these articulating instruments that are made by LivsMed, these ArtiSential instruments, are fabulous, as you can see. But there is a commitment to excellence that comes with these instruments, as with any new technology, even driving a car. So, everything kind of comes together with experience and time, specifically practice. Practice is everything in anything that you do. It's no different with something that's new, something that's innovative, and something that is this complex, if you will, of what it's going to do. And so this is where practice with a trainer really comes handy and is of utmost importance. And there is a course that is online by LivsMed that everybody can essentially partake and needs to partake and spend the time and commit the time to be able to perfect the use of the instrument. I myself am still learning the nuances of the instrument, even though it looks pretty easy when you look on the screen. When you're actually trying it, you need to get those, those neurons, what I call the new formation of neurons in the brain, to be able to really become an expert with the device. So I really encourage you not to give up, and trust me, you will be frustrated for the first hour that you use this instrument, and as you go subsequent hours and you utilize and practice more and more, you'll find that there is an aha experience, and everybody's going to have a different aha experience. So I really want you to commit to it and stick with it, and you'll see that you're going to really appreciate all the fruits of the labor.